Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about the Git basics. If you have recently joined a software company, then you might have heard a term version control from your peers. But what exactly it is and why do we need version control? Let's take an example of a guy who has joined a software company recently and his manager asked him to develop one feature. And this guy developed a feature and deployed it and everyone liked it very much. But now the customer comes up with new requirements and he has to develop three new features. But it is impossible for him alone to finish developing all the features within given time. So his manager decides to add two new team members to the team and he assigns one feature to each team members. Now all developers have developed their features and it's time to merge their code. And they found out that all three developers have made changes to few common files. Then all three team members have to come together and work on resolving the conflict issues. This kills time for all three developers. With the team and your code increasing further, this can even take more time for merging the changes. This is where the version control comes into picture. Now the version control allows developer to work simultaneously from their own workstation without overwriting each other changes. The simple version control you can think of is the text editor like Notepad++ where you can add something and in order to remove changes which you have made, you can simply do Ctrl Z. This will take you back to the previous version. Version controls maintains a history of every version, so in any point of time you can go back to a specific version. So to summarize, the version controls allows developer to work simultaneously. It does not allows overwriting each other changes and it maintains a history of every version so that you can go to any specific version in any point of time. So this is how your typical version control system looks like. We have version control system where multiple repositories can be kept, and we have workstation from where the user or the developer can collaborate with each other using the version control system. Basically, they can perform many operations like commit and check out on the version control system repositories. We have two different types of version control system. The first one is the centralized version control system and the second is the distributed version control system. Centralized version control system uses central server to store all the files and enables team collaboration. But a major drawback of such system is the single point of failure. If the central server goes down for some time, then no one can collaborate with each other. And in worst case, if the disk of the central server gets corrupted and the backup is not there, then the entire project history is gone. So this is where the distributed version control system comes into picture. Distributed version control system clients not only check out the latest snapshot of the directory, but they also fully mirror the repository. So here you can see we have a central server where we have the repository and on each client we have the copy of the repository. So if the central server goes down, then the repository from any client can be copied back to the server to restore it. Every checkout is the full backup of the repository. Git does not rely on the central server to perform operations, but you can do many operations on the Git even when you are offline. You can perform commits, you can create branches, you can view logs and perform many operations even if when you are offline. So you require network connectivity only whenever you want to push the changes to the central repositories or whenever you want to take the latest changes from the central repository which are made by your peer. And Git is the example of the distributed version control system. Earlier in this video, we have seen how the typical version control system works. In the typical version control system, we have a repository on the remote system and from the local machine, the developer or the user can perform operations directly on the remote repository. Git follows a different approach whenever you want to push the changes to the remote server. Once you have cloned the repository on your local machine and have made some changes to your local copy, and you want these changes to be pushed to the remote repository, then Git follows this approach. The changes will not get directly committed into the remote repository. There is something called staging area and the local repository. You first need to add your files to the staging area, and then once you perform the commit on these changes, they will get propagated to the local repository. And when you push these changes, then only the changes will be reflected in the remote repository and can be viewed by other contributors of the project. Now let's see how you can install the Git clients on your machine. To install the Git client on your machine, you have to go to gitscm.com/download, and where you can see the download option for different operating systems, and you have to choose it as per your operating system. For Windows, you can just click on the download 2.30.0 for Windows, and it will download the exe file for you. You can install it by using all the default options. If you are using some different operating system like Fedora, then you can install Git using this command yum install Git or dnf install Git. Or if you are using Ubuntu or Debian, you can install Git using this apt get install Git. Now let's try to create a repository on GitHub. So before creating the repository on GitHub, you have to create the account using sign up option. You have to go to github.com, and on the top you just need to click on the sign up. You need to enter the username, then you can enter your email address, then you can enter password, and then you just need to say create account. I already have the account created for me, so I am not going to create the account again. So once you create the account and log in into that, you can see the landing page will look like something like this. So here you can create the repository. You just need to click on the create repository. Let's say I'm creating one repository with a name learning, and I'm creating we have two options for this repository. Either I can create it public, anyone on the internet can see this repository, but I want it to be private, so I will create a private repository, and I will add the add a readme file, and I will say create repository. So this will now create a repository for me. You can see I have this repository where I just have this readme.md file and this main branch. Now once you have installed the Git clients on your machine, we have to do few configurations before using the Git. Basically Git expects us to introduce ourselves. So you need to pass the information like your username and your email address. So let's do that. I have this folder created which I'm going to use for this exercise. So when you right click in this folder, you can see now two options are added, git GUI here and git bash here. We are going to use git bash for this tutorial. So once you do this, you can enter command like git config -- global and user.email, where you need to mention your email address. So this is the email address which I'm going to use. You also need to mention your username. So I'm going to use Mayur. So this is how you can configure your information, or we can say your profile information is now set, so that whenever you perform any operations on the Git, you will be considered as an author for that operation. So you can see if the correct username and the email address is set or not by using git config -- list command. So if you hit this command, you can see here the user.name is set as Mayur and the user.email is set as mayur.kurkure20@gmail.com. So now let's move ahead and let's look at some basic operations now. So we have one remote repository created, but now we want that repository on our local machine. So how can we do that? So for that purpose, we have this git clone command. So for this git clone command requires git URL. So from where we can get this URL. So you need to go to the browser where we have created this repository learning, and here we have an option to clone the repository. Here you can see the clone is there. We have three options which you can use: HTTPS, SSH, and GitHub CLI. So I'm going to use HTTPS. So you just need to copy this. So this is now copied, and now you need to go to your git bash, and here you need to write command like git clone and the URL which you have copied from the remote repository, and you just need to hit enter. Now this will clone the learning repository into this git learning folder. Okay, so now if you want to see if the learning repository is copied or not, we can do ls. Yes, so it is copied. Now we can go
and to cd to learning. Now you can see we have something like this over here, main in the brackets. So what does this mean? This is the name of branch which you are currently working on. So if you go and see in the browser, for the learning repository, we have only one branch like this, main. So that is why, and that is the default branch. Actually, we can say it is a master branch for the learning repository. So if you want to see all the branches, then you can write some command like this, get branch. So it will list down all the branches, and the branch which you are working on, it will list it in green. So let's try to create one branch here. We can create branch by using git branch and branch name command. So let's say I'm giving one name, first branch to my branch. Okay, I will just hit enter. Now let's see if the branch is created or not by using git branch. Right, so my branch is created. I have now two branches, main and first branch. Now let's see if the branch is uh, also reflected on the remote repository or not. Oh, here we only have one branch. We cannot see the first branch which we have just created using the git bash. So what we need to do? We need to do git push -u origin and the name of your branch. So this is a command which will push the branch which is created locally to the remote server. So here it will ask me for the credentials. Okay, it did not ask me for the credentials. Fine. So now let's see if the branch is created or not here. We'll go to browser. Yeah, so the branch is created now. We can see, and it is cloned from the main branch. This branch is even with main. Okay, so now the branch is created. So let's try to do some operation over here. Like let's now we are on main branch. First, let's try to go on the first branch. So how can we do that? So we need to write command like git checkout and first branch. Now if you see, the context is changed here. So now will be working on first branch. So whatever changes we are going to make, they will be reflected on the first branch. So if you want to see which branch you are working on, you can also do like this. So you can see here it has listed two branches, first branch and main, and the branch in green is the first branch, so that is our current branch. Alright, so now we have checked out our code. So now let's try to do some commits. So here is our repository, and we have this readme folder. So it only contains hash learning. So let's try to add something. This is my first git commit, and now we want to commit these changes. So how can we do that? So to commit these changes, first of all we need to see if there are any changes happen on local repository or not. So what we need to do, we need to hit command like git status. So this command will show us if there is any file which is modified. Okay, so see, we can see the file modified is readme.md. So the git also gives you the what next instruction you can use. So git is saying that you can either use git add or git commit hyphen add. So we'll use git add over here. So what this git add will do? So git add dot, this command will send your readme.md file to the staging area now. So now this file is staged. So now if you again hit the git status command, so you can see the readme.md file is in green now. So that means this file is staged. Okay, and now if you want to commit this to the local repository, you need to hit command like git commit and -m and the message you want to type. So I'm going to write modified readme.md file and enter. And now if you see, this file is committed to a local repository. If you go and look at the browser, you can see there is nothing over here. So it is just learning. So we have modified the content, but it is not there. So we need to do git push in order to push the changes from local repository to remote repository, as we have seen in earlier slide. Right. So now the changes are pushed to your remote repository. So we'll go to browser and refresh it. Yeah. So now you can see the changes are in the readme.md file. This is my first git commit. So this is how you do the commits in git. Now let's go back to our slide. Okay, so we have seen the git clone command. We have also seen git branches command. We have seen this git branch name, how to create the branches. Then we have seen how to push the branch to the remote repository. Then we have also seen this git checkout command. And now the commit operation. We have also seen this commit operation. So let's summarize this. So if you want to send your uncommitted changes to remote repository, then first you need to add your changes to staging area by using git add command. Then you can commit the changes from staging to local repository by using git commit command. And if you want this to be done in one step only, then we have a command like this, git commit -a, which will directly send the changes done on your working directory to the local repository. And in order to push the changes which are in local repository to remote repository, you need to use git push command. Now we have, let's say we have made a lot of changes, and now we want to see how many changes we have done. Then in that case, we can use git log command. So git log command will list down all the commits which has happened on the particular branch. And if you want to see what particular change has happened in that particular commit, then you can use git show command. It expects the commit ID. You can take the commit ID from the output of the git log command, and it will give you the exact changes which has happened in that commit. Then in order to see what is the difference between two commits, you can use git dip command. You need to pass two commit IDs to that, like this, git dip c2 c5. So it will list down all the changes which has happened between two commits. Look, let's see that in practical. Now let's go back to our git bash. Let's see what all commits has happened on this first branch. So I will do git log. Yeah, so now you can see there are two commits which has happened over here. We have modified the readme.md file, and this is the initial commit. We have created this branch, so that was the initial commit. So if you don't and you can see it also gives you a lot of details, like author, who is the author, then what date it is committed, and what file it was modified. If you don't want these details, then you can write command like git log --, and you can pass the flag one line. So this will give you the number of commits, and this is the starting ID of this commit. Okay, so now if you want to see what has happened in this commit, so you can do git show, and you can copy this ID, enter. So you can see we have added a line. This is my first git commit to readme.md file. So earlier the file was like this, and now the file is like this.
So basically this git show command can show you what had changed in that particular commit. Now let's say if you want to see the difference between two commits. We don't have many commits, but let's try to see what is the difference. Yeah, so if you now see, it is giving us what is the difference between these two commits. Earlier the file was like this, and now the file is like this. So let's go back to our presentation. Okay, so now let's say you want to view your local changes, or let's say you want to see where your file is currently. So in order to if there are some changes which are in your working directory but not in the staging index, you can use git diff command. It will show you what are changes between your local copy and the staging index. You can also use that git status command. It will just give you the difference between staging and the working directory. Now if you want to see what is the difference between your staging index area and local repository, then you can use git diff -- stage command. And now if you want to see the difference between working directory and the local repository, then you can use git diff head command. So now let's try to do that. I will clear this. Now let's try to do git diff over here. You can see it has not written us any output because we do not have any changes on working directory after the last commit. So let's try to make some changes. So let's try to add one line in this file. This is my second git commit, and let's go to git bash again, and if we hit the git diff command again, then you can see it has listed the difference over here. So you can see the difference is in the readme.md file, and you can see the content before doing the changes and after doing the changes, right? So now you will see what is the difference between git diff and git status then. So if you see the output of git status over here, you can see the modified file is readme.md. And now let's try to do one more change to the directory. So let's try to add one file here. I will say like hello world, and now let's try to run your git status command. So you see the file is added here as an untracked file, the hello world.txt. Now let's try to run the git diff command again. See, the git diff command has not given you anything about the hello world.txt. So this is the difference between the git diff and the git status. The git diff can only give you the difference between two files which are committed to the repositories, and the git status command gives you the output about what files are changed and what files are newly added to your repository. Okay, now let's try to add this file to your staging area, and let's do git status again. So as you can see, the hello world and readme.md file is added to your staging area. Now we want to see what is the difference between the local repository and staging area. So we can do that by using git diff -- stage. So yeah, now you can see the same output which git diff has given you when you ran this before staging. It has not mentioned anything about the hello world.txt because this file is yet to be added on the local repository. Okay, so now if you want to see the difference between local repository and the working directory, you can write this command git diff head. So you can see the same thing is given by this command also. So this is how you can see what is the difference between the files which are in staging or local repository and working directory. So let's go back to our presentation. Yeah, so rollback changes. So this is a very important part about Git. Let's say you have made some changes, but you want to go back to some previous version. So in that case, there are two commands in Git which you can use to roll back your changes. So git revert is one command which you can use. So basically the git revert command will add one new commit using the commit which you want to roll back to. And the git reset command will directly move your head pointer to that commit. So all the commits which are done after your target commit will be gone. So the commit history will be gone over here. And in this, the new commit will be added ahead of head. Now let's go to our git bash to see how this command works. Let's see what is the current status here. So you can see we have this modified file readme.md, and we have added one new file which is yet to be committed or added to stage. So we'll add this file. So this will add both the files to staging area now, and then we will commit. We'll give some message like second commit. Okay, now let's do some changes to this hello world file. Let's try to add something to this file and commit this. Modified hello world file. So I have committed this hello world file. Now let's again make some changes. Let's delete this world and just keep the hello content and commit this again. Modified hello world again. Okay, so why we are doing multiple commits here? Because we want to see how the git revert and git reset command works. So let's clear this, and now let's look at the history of our commits. So you can see we have 4-5 commits done on this branch now. So let's go to let's try to revert to this branch. So what we can do is, if we write something like this git revert, then it will take our head to one step back, like it will go here, modify hello world file. I will hit enter, and it asks you to type some message, but I will keep the message as is, revert modified hello world again, and just do wq. Yeah, so you can see the file is reverted, it is successful now. So if we go and see the hello world file, you can see we have modified the content of hello world to hello, but now the hello world file content is hello world. So that means the commit is reverted back. Now let's go and see how the git reset command works. So now let's see how the commit history looks like. So if we see, we had 1 2 3 4 5 commits earlier, and now we have 6 commits. So this commit is added because of git revert command. Okay, and now let's try to do git reset, and let's say I want to reset it here. Copy and paste. So as you can see, it has unstaged one file, because this file was newly created when we committed this. And if you see the git log -1 line, then you can see only 2 commits are there. So the head is pointing to this commit now, this commit, and all the changes after the second commit is gone. So that means if you use the git reset command, your entire git commit history will be lost. So you need to be careful when you are using this git reset command, because if you use this command, then your git history will be lost. So the git revert is a best tool for undoing shared public changes. That means if there are some changes made by you or your peers on the remote repository, then the best tool you can use is the git revert. And the git reset is the best use for undoing local private changes. That means if there are some changes you have made in your local repository, then you can use git reset command to bring it back to some earlier version. Let's go back to our presentation. Update local changes. Sometimes it may happen that you and your teammates are working on one feature, and your teammate has made some changes to the branch and pushed the changes to the remote repository. And now you have made some changes in the local directory, and you want the changes which are made by your teammate in your local copy. So in this case, you have to use git pull or git fetch followed by git merge. So let's say your peer has made some changes on remote repository, then you need to perform git fetch, which will bring the changes into the local repository, but it will not bring the changes into the working directory. So you have to hit command git merge after you have done the git fetch. This will bring the changes into the working directory. Or there is one command which can do the work of this both, which is git pull. So let's see how it works practically. Let's try to make some changes directly from the browser. Let's say hello from your peer. So I will just commit this now. You need to do commit changes, right? So the content of the readme file is modified now. So what we need to do is, let's go back to git bash and let's do git fetch. So this will fetch the changes which are there on the remote repository to your local repository. So you can see it has communicated to this GitHub repository now. And now in order to take those changes into your working directory, you need to do git merge. So you can see there is a conflict now which has arisen. Merge conflict in readme.md. This is because we have also made some changes in the readme file. Sorry, this one. So you can see now the content of readme file is automatically modified. This is because the git bash has encountered the conflict, and that is why it has added this thing, the less than bracket and greater than bracket. So you can see this is something which is there in your local repository, or this was there in your local repository. So you need to choose which one you want to keep. So let's keep whatever is there from the your peer. So you need to delete this, and you need to delete this. Now let's go back to our git, and we can see here what has happened, right? So we have these two files which are modified. You can do git add and git commit. Right, so this way you can pull the changes which are done by your peer on the remote repository. You can also use the git pull, but we are not going to use it in this exercise. Let's go back to our presentation. Right, so resolving conflict. So we already seen how to resolve the conflict. The content between two branches will be separated by these equal to symbols, and we will have this less than and greater than symbol, which you can refer to see which changes from which branch. Now let's go to ignore files. So sometimes you may want to ignore few files like .class files or .logs files or .exe file. You don't want this file to be checked into your remote repository. These files are generated on compilations or any temporary files which are generated by your code. You don't want these files to be checked into your repository. So in that case, what you can do is you can create .ignore file in the root folder of your directory. So we will create that. So let's do that by using touch dot get ignore. So this now this will create one file in learning folder at the root level. So let's go to that, and let's say I don't want to check in .class files and I don't want to check in .log file. So if you write something like this, let's say test.class, and let's say you have something like this, perform.log. So in this case, now if you go to your git bash and do git status, then you can see we have added two files in the repository, but those files are not tracked here because of the git ignore. We have mentioned the patterns there, so that is why the files are not listed here. So first we need to check in this git ignore file. So you can do that by using git add, and then you can commit the file. Added git ignore. So this will add your git ignore to your local repository. Now you can do git push to push this file to remote repository. So let's go to our presentation. So that's all guys from me on the Git basics for this video. If you like the video, then please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment on the video. Thank you guys for now. See you soon.